Imagine walking into a desert landscape in southeastern Turkey and stumbling upon a structure that shouldn't exist. A massive complex of T-shaped stone pillars, some weighing over 20 tons, carved with intricate reliefs of scorpions, lions, and vultures. Now, imagine finding out that this complex was built 12,000 years ago, at a time when, according to every history book ever written, humans were nothing more than simple hunter-gatherers living in caves. This is Göbekli Tepe, and it is the single most important archaeological discovery of the 21st century. It doesn't just add a new chapter to our history, it demands that we throw the old book away and start over. It is a monumental challenge to everything we thought we knew about the origins of civilization, forcing us to confront the possibility of a far more complex and enigmatic past. For decades, the standard narrative of human civilization was simple, elegant, and seemingly unassailable. First, we were nomadic hunter-gatherers, living hand-to-mouth, following animal migrations. Then, around 10,000 years ago, we supposedly discovered agriculture, a revolutionary shift that led to permanent settlements. These settlements, in turn, fostered social hierarchy, specialization of labor, and eventually the construction of monumental architecture like temples and pyramids. It was a neat, linear progression of progress, a clear path from primitive to sophisticated. But Göbekli Tepe has shattered that timeline into a million pieces. Here, we have monumental architecture before agriculture. We have complex social organization before settled life. The temple came before the city, turning our understanding of human development completely on its head. This isn't just an anomaly, it's a paradigm shift. When German archaeologist Klaus Schmidt first began excavating the site in 1994, he realized almost immediately that he was looking at something that defied explanation. The site, located atop a barren hilltop, consists of numerous circular and oval enclosures, each featuring massive T-shaped megaliths. These aren't just rough-hewn rocks. They are precisely shaped, smooth, and decorated with three-dimensional carvings of animals: foxes, snakes, boars, cranes, and terrifying scorpions, as well as abstract symbols. To quarry, transport, and erect these stones, some weighing up to 60 tons, would have required hundreds, and not thousands, of coordinated workers. This level of engineering and logistical planning is simply not attributed to a society of primitive hunter-gatherers. How did a culture supposedly lacking advanced tools, domesticated animals, or even the wheel organize such a monumental feat? The sheer scale of the undertaking suggests a highly organized society with a shared purpose, a complex belief system, and a sophisticated understanding of construction. The answer might lie in what Göbekli Tepe actually was. It wasn't a city. There are no hearths, no trash pits, no evidence of permanent domestic life, no signs of cooking or daily living. Instead, it appears to have been a massive ritual center, a cathedral on a hill where people from hundreds of miles away gathered for ceremonies we can only guess at. Perhaps it was a pilgrimage site, a place of initiation, or a communal gathering point for diverse groups. The intricate carvings suggest a rich symbolic language, possibly connected to shamanistic practices, ancestor worship, or a sophisticated cosmology. The animals depicted are often fierce and powerful, hinting at a deep connection to the natural world and perhaps a desire to appease or harness its forces. But why here? And why then? The timing of Göbekli Tepe is crucial. It was built exactly as the world was emerging from the cataclysmic Younger Dryas period, the era of the Great Flood we discussed in our last episode. As the global climate stabilized after thousands of years of chaos, this massive complex suddenly appeared. It's as if a group of people, perhaps the survivors of that global catastrophe, arrived with a pre-existing blueprint, a set of advanced skills and knowledge that had been preserved through the darkness of the cataclysm. They weren't inventing civilization. They were rebuilding it. Or perhaps making a desperate attempt to preserve the remnants of a lost golden age. This theory suggests that Göbekli Tepe is not the beginning of civilization, but rather a reestablishment or a memorial to a much older, forgotten one. But the most shocking thing about Göbekli Tepe isn't how it was built, it's how it ended, around 8000 BC. After being in use for nearly 3,000 years, the entire site was intentionally buried. Every pillar, every enclosure, every carving was covered with hundreds of thousands of tons of earth and stone. This wasn't a natural event like a landslide or a sandstorm. It was a massive coordinated effort to hide the site from the world. A deliberate act of preservation or concealment. The sheer labor involved in burying such a colossal complex is almost as staggering as the effort to build it in the first place. This act of intentional burial is what truly sets Göbekli Tepe apart and fuels endless speculation. Why would a civilization spend 3,000 years building and maintaining a sacred site, only to bury it by hand? Were they protecting it from an approaching threat? Perhaps another cataclysm they foresaw? Were they decommissioning a sacred space that had lost its power or purpose, perhaps due to changing beliefs or environmental shifts? Or were they leaving a time capsule for a future generation, a generations like ours, to find a message encoded in stone, waiting for the right moment to be rediscovered? The deliberate nature of the burial suggests a profound understanding of the site's significance and a desire to control its fate across millennia. It's a mystery that continues to baffle archaeologists and historians alike. Klaus Schmidt himself believed that Göbekli Tepe was a sanctuary of the hunter-gatherers, a place where early humans gathered for spiritual purposes. However, as excavations continue, the evidence points to something even more sophisticated. Ground-penetrating radar has revealed that there are at least 20 more circular enclosures still buried beneath the surface, waiting to be unearthed. We have only excavated about 5% of the site. What we found so far is just the tip of the iceberg, hinting at a vast, interconnected complex that could redefine our understanding of prehistoric human capabilities. Each new discovery at Göbekli Tepe seems to deepen the mystery rather than solve it, opening up more questions than answers. Some researchers have pointed to the astronomical alignments of the pillars. The central stones appear to point toward specific stars, possibly Sirius or the constellation of Cygnus, suggesting a sophisticated understanding of archaeastronomy. This implies a knowledge of celestial mechanics that is far beyond what is typically attributed to cultures of this period. Others have noted the recurring imagery of the handbag or bucket held by figures in the reliefs, a symbol that appears mysteriously in the hands of civilizing gods across the globe, from the Apkallu of Sumeria to the Quetzalcoatl of the Aztecs, and even in ancient Egyptian iconography. Is it possible that Göbekli Tepe was a school of ancient wisdom, a place where the survivors of a lost age passed on their knowledge of the stars, the seasons, agriculture, and the fundamental laws of nature? This shared symbolism across disparate cultures hints at a global connection, a common source of knowledge that predates recorded history. The impact of Göbekli Tepe on our understanding of the past cannot be overstated. It proves that human sophistication is far older than we ever imagined. It proves that we are capable of massive coordinated efforts for non-utilitarian purposes, for spirit, for ritual, for the preservation of memory, long before we ever worried about planting wheat or building walls. It forces us to reconsider the very definition of civilization and its origins. If monumental architecture and complex social structures existed before agriculture, then the traditional model of human progress is fundamentally flawed. It suggests that spiritual and ceremonial needs might have been the primary drivers for early human organization, rather than purely practical concerns like food production. Mainstream archaeology is still struggling to catch up. For years, the site was ignored or downplayed because it simply didn't fit the established model of human development. It was an inconvenient truth, an anomaly that threatened to unravel decades of academic consensus. But you cannot ignore 20-ton stones. You cannot ignore a site that is 7,000 years older than Stonehenge, 6,000 years older than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Göbekli Tepe is a ghost from a world we aren't supposed to know about, a silent witness to a forgotten epoch, demanding that we listen to its story. The resistance to fully embracing its implications highlights the challenges of scientific paradigm shifts, where new evidence clashes with deeply entrenched theories. As we look at the intricate carvings of foxes, boars, and cranes, we are looking at the minds of our ancestors from 12 millennia ago. They weren't primitive. They were artists, engineers, astronomers, and seekers. They were people who lived through a global apocalypse and decided that the most important thing they could do was build something that would last forever, a monument to their knowledge and their resilience. They were sending a message across time, a message that we are only now beginning to decipher. Their story is a testament to the enduring human spirit, capable of creating beauty and meaning even in the face of unimaginable destruction. In our next episode, we're going to look at a discovery that seems even more impossible. A device found at the bottom of the sea that shouldn't have been invented for another 1,500 years. A device that proves the ancient Greeks had access to a level of technology that was lost to history for a millennium. Join us as we uncover the secrets of the Antikythera mechanism, a mechanical marvel that challenges our understanding of ancient ingenuity and suggests a continuity of advanced knowledge that defies the conventional timeline of technological progress. The truth is waiting, and it's older than you think. If you're as fascinated by Göbekli Tepe as we are, make sure to check out the detailed maps, ground-penetrating radar images, and reconstruction images in the full series playlist. We are uncovering a history that was buried for a reason. Don't let it stay hidden. The truth is rising, and it will change your perception of humanity forever.